Mayor Eric Adams. It's a lot of bullshit going on in New York, y'all. A lot of bullshit going on in New York. Before I get started, let's watch this video real quick.
A New York City daycare owner and her cousin charged with murder after police say a 1-year-old boy died and 3 others were sickened after suspected fentanyl poisoning while in her care. Gray Mendez, the daycare owner, along with Carlisto Acevedo Brito, face a number of charges including murder and manslaughter, and the death of 1-year-old Nicholas Dominici, whose distraught father says he just started at the daycare last week. According to court documents, the 2 suspects were running a drug operation from their Bronx apartment. Police in protective suits searching the home Friday night, where they say they found a kilogram of fentanyl along with a kilo press in the closet inside the daycare, another inside Brito's bedroom. A New York police say it all started when a 2-year-old in Mendez's care went home, where he was lethargic and unresponsive, and then rushed to a hospital where he was revived using Narcan. Well, 2 hours later, police rushed to the daycare after a 911 call about a group of unresponsive children.
Narcan was administered to all 3 of these children in an attempt to save their lives.
Police say it all started when a 2-year-old in Mendez's care went home, where he was lethargic and unresponsive, and then rushed to a hospital where he was...
Our condolences to you over your loss, Mr. Feliz. Could you tell us what this past couple of days have been like for you?
It's very hard for us. It's a really hard moment. This is not supposed to happen because it's a safe place for the kids. It's a place to they learn, so they be safe, so they have a good day when the parents is working or doing something for the family, and it's not supposed to happen.
Our condolences to you.
So we have this thing that we do here in American media, where we tend to glamorize all of the terrible shit in the worst parts of our society. And it's largely because it has become a very, very lucrative part of media entertainment. We've had shows like Snowfall, Ozarks, Breaking Bad, Power, and before all of those, we had The Wire and movies like Training Day, all media adaptations that leaned heavily on the portrayal and use of drug culture and the depiction of drug culture, right? And don't get me wrong, I am a fan of all of those shows, right? I've seen them all. I've seen all of them. But I always have a healthy understanding that what's being presented to us for entertainment is purely that. It's entertainment. It's meant to be showcased and glamorous because reality looks much, much different. There's no camera crew. There's no makeup. There's no enthralling storylines. It's just death, decay, and real lives being affected and destroyed. The Bronx is one of those places that people love to brag about. They love to brag about being from the Bronx for some reason. And when you think about black culture as it relates to the Bronx, it's never anything good that comes to the mind outside of hip hop, and even that has its fair share of downsides. But it's always some of the most egregious shit that we've praised and applauded and pedestalized as part of our culture as some shit to be adorned. This is the type of shit your favorite rappers love to talk about. They love to rap about, right? Pushing kilos and selling that work by whatever means necessary. And before y'all jump into the comments with that bullshit you hear all the time, that there used to be some kind of code in the streets where certain age groups and women were off limits, stop and take the cape off. Please. Because that's been one of the greatest lies ever told. Nobody ever gave a fuck about babies, kids, and women for real. Now, maybe they didn't go around blowing their brains out at stoplights. But they still sold poison to any and everybody that would buy it, including pregnant crackheads and dope fiends that wanted it. So what are we talking about really? A code. Why the hell are we pretending like drugs and the drug game have been off limits to mothers and children when I've seen with my own eyes pregnant women cracked out on the street corners and selling their bodies for drugs? Where the hell they get it from? From the people that supposedly gave a shit, right? Loves to harken back to the pretend period of time where niggas supposedly cared about the community. But when you pull back that curtain and take a peek, this shit been off the rails for decades. So it don't surprise me at all that presently there's a news story about a bunch of babies being exposed and overdosing on fentanyl in a damn daycare. Could you imagine dropping your baby off at a daycare because you got to get to work? And you get a phone call from the police department telling you to come down and identify which one is yours. Could you imagine it? That's one of the reasons none of my kids have ever been to daycare. It's because I cannot imagine what I would do in a situation like this. I have always done whatever was necessary to keep my babies at home. If it took me working nights while their mom worked during the day, then damn it, that's what I did. And that's what I do. Because under no circumstances am I leaving my babies that can't even properly communicate and let me know if something is off with strangers. Because this is what you potentially get. And y'all believing that they have their best interests at heart. People are foul out here. They're foul. And I understand that not everyone has the option of having a parent at home at all times. With a newborn especially. And to that I say that you need to effectively plan out and strategize bringing a child into this world if you cannot provide the kind of safety that keeps them from being with strangers for 7 to 8 goddamn hours of the damn day. How long are we supposed to sit here and live out mistake after mistake after mistake and witness the mistakes of everybody else around us before you decide to make a change in the way that you live your life and create a family? You go to the comment section and all you're going to see is everybody talking about how parents don't have the option to stay at home with their baby because they got to go and pay bills. They got bills to pay. And I'm going to say what nobody else is saying in response to it. Stop bringing these babies into the world without being able to provide the covering that they need. Nobody is forcing y'all to have these kids. It is a conscious effort and decision to lay down with somebody else and procreate. Nobody holding a gun to y'all head. Nobody's forcing you dudes to dip your stick into some shit. And nobody is forcing you women to open up your legs if you are not in a position to provide round-the-clock supervision and care. Then guess the hell what? Your ass don't need to have a damn kid because you not ready. If you haven't saved up enough to take off the appropriate amount of time that you need to care for your own, you not ready. Plain and simple. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but don't click off this shit. No, stay right there and get this work. Stay right there. That's the problem. Nobody want to tell shit like it is. Nobody want to tell y'all to stop having kids that you can't properly provide for and protect. My young people, please don't do it. Listen, I promise you I'm not playing a trick on y'all. I promise you I'm not. Gentlemen, I know she fine as hell with a big booty and some double D's, but please understand what having a child when you ain't ready really means. Young ladies, I know that gentleman is fine. I know society done told y'all that it's okay to bring a child into this world at whatever age while you struggling. But I promise you it's not okay. I promise. I'm so tired of all these excuses we got to sit up here and listen to as to why we can't do the thing that we know is in our best interest and that is our responsibility. You knew that you wasn't going to be able to take care of your baby and work a regular ass job, right? Then that shit is no surprise. Ain't nobody spring that up on you. But because society says that you should just base all of your decisions off of your emotions and not logic, then we have these situations where now we got to break out the harp and listen to the sob stories of why your kid, who ain't old enough to effectively communicate or fend for themselves, are exposed to the dangers of people that don't have no real connection to them. And as a result, end up being exposed to something like fentanyl in a goddamn daycare. All because somebody trying to move weight and get money no matter the cost. Including the cost of your child's life. How many times we got to see this shit happen? At what point do we look at the rest of the world and the state and the condition of everything around us and say, you know what? We have had legacy after legacy after legacy and generation after generation after generation of fucked up shit happening and going on, and nobody's making anything better. We are still having babies out of wedlock. We still having babies with no real father in the home. We still having babies with no real connection to the parents. What the fuck is going on? At what point do we wake up and say, you know what? I don't want to lead my family down a path like that. I don't want to procreate and bring somebody else into this world, a baby, a child that is mine, that is dependent completely upon me, and have them in a situation where I have to hand them over to somebody else, a goddamn stranger, to watch for 7 to 8 to 9 hours out of the day. Protect your own. That's it. Protect your own.